Imagine showing up to a World Cup and realizing almost everything has changed. More teams, more matches, more countries, more cities. And for the first time in football history, the biggest sporting event on earth won't belong to just one nation. It will belong to three. The 2026 FIFA World Cup is not simply another tournament, it's the biggest transformation the World Cup has ever seen. Some fans believe it will create more opportunities than ever before. Others fear it could damage what made the tournament special in the first place. So what exactly is changing? Why did FIFA decide to rewrite the rules of its most important competition? And could 2026 become the greatest World Cup ever, or its biggest gamble? Let's find out.
For nearly a century, the FIFA World Cup followed a relatively simple formula. A select group of nations earned the right to compete. The tournament was hosted by one country, or occasionally shared between two. The competition remained exclusive. Getting to the World Cup was often harder than surviving it. For many smaller football nations, qualifying felt almost impossible. But football has changed dramatically. The sport is no longer dominated by just Europe and South America. Today, football reaches every corner of the planet. From crowded streets in Lagos to mountain villages in Asia, from North American suburbs to Middle Eastern cities, millions dream of seeing their national team on the world's biggest stage. FIFA saw this growth and made a historic decision. Starting in 2026, the World Cup would expand from 32 teams to 48 teams. At first glance, that sounds like a simple increase. In reality, it changes everything. The qualification process, the tournament format, the travel schedule, the economics, and even the future of international football itself. To understand why, we need to look at what the World Cup used to be.
For most of World Cup history, only 32 nations could qualify. That number might sound large, but consider this. More than 200 national teams compete for those spots. Many countries spent years building strong squads only to miss out because there simply wasn't enough room. Entire generations of talented players sometimes never experienced a World Cup. FIFA argued that football had outgrown the old system. More countries deserved a chance, more fans deserved representation, and more regions deserved a place at football's biggest party. So the number increased to 48 teams. That's a 50% expansion. Immediately, qualification became more accessible. Africa gained additional spots. Asia gained additional spots. North America gained additional spots. Oceania, historically one of the most difficult regions to qualify from, finally received a direct qualification place. For many nations, the dream suddenly became realistic. Countries that had spent decades watching from home now had genuine hope. But adding 16 new teams created a massive problem. How do you fit everyone into the tournament? The solution was a completely redesigned format. The competition will now feature 12 groups of 4 teams. The top teams from each group advance along with the best third-place finishers.
This creates a much larger knockout stage and significantly more matches overall. In previous World Cups, there were 64 matches. In 2026, there will be 104. That's an enormous increase. For fans, it means more football. For broadcasters, it means more content. For FIFA, it means greater global attention. But for players, it means a longer and more demanding tournament, and that's where the debate begins. Critics argue that football's calendar is already overloaded. Elite players compete in domestic leagues, continental tournaments, international qualifiers, and club competitions. Adding more World Cup matches could increase fatigue and injury risk. Supporters respond with a simple argument. The World Cup only happens once every 4 years. If there is one tournament worth expanding, surely it's this one. But the changes don't stop there. The host itself is making history. The 2026 World Cup will be jointly hosted by the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Never before has the tournament been spread across 3 nations on this scale. The distances involved are enormous. Fans could watch one match in Mexico City and then need to travel thousands of kilometers to attend the next. Teams may face extensive travel between games. Logistics will become one of the biggest challenges in World Cup history. Yet this unique setup also creates incredible opportunities. The United States brings massive stadiums and commercial power. Canada offers modern infrastructure and growing football enthusiasm. Mexico contributes one of the richest football cultures on earth.
Together, they represent a football market unlike anything seen before. The United States alone possesses venues that regularly host more than 70,000 spectators. Some NFL stadiums are among the largest sporting venues in the world. Meanwhile, Mexico already has deep World Cup history. In fact, Mexico will become the first country ever to host men's World Cup matches in 3 different tournaments. That achievement alone is historic.
And then there was the broader vision behind the tournament. FIFA believes 2026 can accelerate football's growth across North America. The region has already experienced a football boom. Major League Soccer continues to expand. Youth participation remains strong. International stars increasingly view North America as an important football market. A successful World Cup could push that growth even further. Much like the 1994 World Cup helped establish modern professional football in the United States, 2026 could influence the sport for decades. But perhaps the most exciting change is something less obvious. The expansion means we'll likely see new stories, new heroes, new underdogs. Every World Cup produces surprise teams. Think of Morocco's historic run in 2022. Think of Croatia reaching the final in 2018. Think of South Korea's remarkable journey in 2002. Now imagine even more nations receiving that opportunity. Some countries may reach the World Cup for the very first time. Unknown players could suddenly become global stars. Entire nations could experience football history together. And that's ultimately the reason FIFA pushed for expansion. Not just to create more matches, but to create more stories.
Here are some fascinating facts about the 2026 World Cup. It will be the largest World Cup ever held. A record 48 teams will compete. The tournament will feature 104 matches. 3 countries will host together for the first time. Mexico will become the first nation to host World Cup matches in 3 separate editions. More than 5 million fans are expected to attend matches. The final is expected to become one of the most watched sporting events in history. Perhaps the most remarkable fact is this. Many children watching the tournament in 2026 may support nations making their World Cup debut. That possibility barely existed under the old format.
The 2026 World Cup is about much more than football. It represents a major shift in how the sport views itself. For decades, the World Cup was an exclusive club. Now, FIFA wants it to become more global than ever. Whether you agree with the expansion or not, one thing is undeniable. More countries will feel represented, more fans will feel connected, more players will have the chance to experience football's greatest stage. The tournament could redefine what international football looks like for future generations. If successful, expansion may become one of the most important decisions FIFA has ever made. If it fails, critics will point to 2026 as the moment the World Cup became too large. Either way, football history is about to be written.
The World Cup has always evolved. From its humble beginnings in 1930, to the television revolution, to the expansion from 24 teams to 32, and now to the biggest transformation ever attempted. 48 teams, 3 host nations, 104 matches, billions of viewers, and countless new stories waiting to be told. The 2026 FIFA World Cup won't just be bigger, it will be different. Whether that difference becomes a triumph or a cautionary tale remains to be seen, but one thing is certain. When the opening whistle blows, football will enter a brand new era.
What do you think about the new 48-team World Cup? Will it make the tournament better, or do you prefer the traditional format? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed learning about the future of football, make sure to like, subscribe, and join us for more stories behind the beautiful game.